Welcome to Dateline SAU, your source for the latest news and sports from St. Ambrose University. I'm Katie Link.
And I'm Charles Hart. The results are in, and St. Ambrose University has been ranked 27th in the U.S. News & World Report's best college rankings for the Midwest region. This ranking is 11 spots higher than last year. St. Ambrose also rose 15 spots in the best value category, ranking 27th among Midwest schools. SAU is the only Iowa private university included among top 30 schools.
St. Ambrose University's theater department is preparing for its first production of the season. The one-act play The Lesson by Eugene Ionesco will be performed in the Studio Theater, which is located in the basement of Galvin. The play is being directed by a familiar face to the Galvin stage, SAU alum TJ Green. Kicking off the rehearsal process has allowed him to reflect on his time here at SAU.
So it's nice to be back with the people I love, doing stuff that I love to do, as well as also have more of an understanding of what goes into a production and what I need to do to make sure everyone else involved is able to do the best job they can.
The cast consists of 3 actors, David Weaver as the professor, Nikki DeWitt as the pupil, and Quinny Rodman as the maid. The play is described as hilarious yet off-putting. It will be performed at Galvin on September 30th and October 1st at 7 p.m. and October 2nd at 3 p.m.
KALA Radio hosted a first-time event Wednesday in the Rogalski Center ballroom. It was KALA FM Sports Trivia Night. The event consisted of 6 rounds with 10 questions each. Teams were to write down their answers on a sheet of paper where it would then be graded for final results. The hope of the event was to bring more exposure to the radio station.
I'd like to gain, obviously, a little bit more attention for the radio station. That's one big thing with this. There's some kids on campus that don't even know what KLA is, so I think that brings attention here. And also just putting together an event like this, getting people together in one room just to enjoy sports trivia.
The top 3 teams received one of 3 prizes, which were either a $25 Buffalo Wild Wings gift card, an autographed edition of Sports Illustrated, or tickets to the upcoming Quad Cities Blues Festival.
Last Saturday marked the 20th anniversary of the September 11th terrorist attacks on our nation. 2 St. Ambrose organizations teamed up to host a special event to remember that day and to raise money for a good cause. The College Democrats and College Republicans hosted the Patriots Day Run. The course covered close to 3 miles encircling the campus. Even though the event organizers were just toddlers in 2001, they see a lesson we can all learn from that tragic day.
I guess this day in general is just a way to keep those people in their memory and remember them and remember their sacrifices made and just the American efforts that everybody came together to address the issue.
The country kind of rallied together and came together for one cause and actually united. So that's what it means to me, is coming together and uniting for one cause and being there for our people.
All money raised at the Patriots Day Run was given to the Wounded Warriors Project.
Hispanic Heritage Month began September 15th and will go through October 15th. The Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion has put up a display on the 2nd floor of the Rogalski Center honoring different parts of Hispanic culture. The display will be moving to different locations across campus throughout the month. The student group Latinos Unidos is also planning a Free Food Friday at the Cultural House, with possibility more in the future.
Since the start of the school year, some campus-owned houses have been broken into and personal property has been taken. The most recent incident was Thursday with a report of a break-in at a campus house on Gaines Street. Students are worried about their own safety and are concerned if St. Ambrose security is properly handling the situation. One of the victims of an earlier incident, Tyler Hill, explains what happened at his residence.
Started noticing that TVs were gone, gaming consoles were gone. They said that they were going to start increasing patrols with St. Ambrose security, and we've seen that a little bit, but not up to satisfaction. Invest in your own Ring doorbell or stuff like that, and just keep making sure that your doors are locked or that somebody's home.
St. Ambrose University sent out emails regarding break-ins and have encouraged students at house meetings to look into getting renter's insurance.
Students looking to get involved in physical therapy have plenty of resources to be successful on campus. One that might go overlooked is the Student Physical Therapy Organization. The STPO gives students a chance to make connections and provides them with opportunities other students don't get in class.
So what we do is really just advocate for ourselves as students within the physical therapy program. At the YMCA here locally, we might have students go out and do exercise programs, or there's a PT day of service where we go and we plan an event for maybe kids who don't get a lot of one-on-one interaction. And my favorite moment is just getting to mix and mingle and get involved and just learn about each other and know each other better through that route, social events and fundraising.
The group can be reached at sauspto@gmail.com.
Coming up after a short break, the wrestling team unveils its inaugural schedule, which shows some tough competition ahead.
And the Fighting Bee football team is at home again, this time facing the number 6 team in the country.
We'll have these stories and more coming up after the break.
On Dateline SAU.
I love the culture here at St. Ambrose. It means family to me. I think it's that personal touch you don't receive at a larger institution, and just the values that St. Ambrose has.
The Fighting Bees had a tough assignment this Saturday as they hosted number 6 Concordia of Michigan at Brady Street Stadium. After the Cardinals quarterback, Gavin Brooks, ran in this 2-yard touchdown, the Bees found themselves quickly down 21-0 going into halftime. But coming out in the third quarter, Bee quarterback Tom Casey lobs the ball up to Yemi Ward for this 38-yard touchdown pass, putting the Bees on the board. Then, early in the fourth quarter, SAU's Cade Gorsney finds a little more in the tank as he takes off down the field for this 67-yard run, pulling the Bees within a touchdown of the Cardinals. But Concordia responds. Dakota Hobbs receives this 8-yard pass to keep the game just out of reach for the Bees. Another touchdown for the Cardinals in the closing minutes of the game seals the deal as the Bees fall short. St. Ambrose now hits the road for the first time this season as they take on Lawrence Tech in Southfield, Michigan, Saturday. The women's soccer team experienced 2 extremes this past week. On Saturday, the team exploded for 17 goals in a rout of Indiana South Bend, then 10 different Bees scored at least 1 goal in the game, led by Morgan Wallen's hat trick. A few days later, the goals were hard to come by and the women dropped a 1-0 heartbreaker at Olivet Nazarene. SAU outshot the Tigers 24-11, but the ONU goal in the 82nd minute proved to be the difference. The men's soccer team suffered their first defeat of the season Wednesday versus Olivet Nazarene. The Bees are now 3-1-1 on the season, 0-1 in the CCAC. The St. Ambrose cross-country teams had an impressive showing when they hosted the Fighting Bee Invitational at Crow Creek Park. The men placed all 5 scorers in the top 10 in the 8K event, led by seniors Nolan Rudd and Matt Jung. The women ran a shortened roster with Emma Duncan finishing 2nd and Jessica Mendenhall 5th individually. The St. Ambrose women's volleyball built early leads in every set to defeat Roosevelt 25-18, 25-23, and 25-20 Tuesday night inside Lee Loman Arena. The victory moved the Bees to 6-5 overall and 2-2 in the CCAC. St. Ambrose led throughout much of the first and second set. Roosevelt made things interesting late, going on a 9-4 run to tie the score 23-23. Following the timeout, the Bees put down a kill and a block to finish the set at 25-23. Finally, after keeping ahead the entire third set, the Bees swept Roosevelt 3-0. The team will now take a break from conference play to compete in a 2-day tournament in St. Louis, Missouri. The wrestling preseason has come to a close as Coach Bo Bedinson prepares for what is to come for the brand new Fighting Bees wrestling squad. This coming season has a tough schedule, including the 2021 national runner-up, the Grandview Vikings. Bedinson looks forward to competing at a high level.
It's going to be challenging for sure, but we're going to have a good year. This is going to be a really good building season for what's to come, but that doesn't mean we're trying to take a backseat to anybody. I want to win. Everybody wants to win. I'm extremely competitive. I want to win at everything that we do. So that's the expectation. That's the goal. Is just because we're wrestling Grandview doesn't mean we don't want to win. It doesn't mean I don't expect us to win. Right? We got to win.
Catch the Fighting Bees in action for the very first time as they take on Augustana College on November 1st at home. And for the 5th straight year, St. Ambrose has led the country in the number of NAIA Scholar teams, a distinction for programs that have a cumulative team GPA of 3.0 or better. SAU had 24 sports teams that achieved that academic mark. Football, men's lacrosse, men's swimming and diving, women's indoor track and field, and women's basketball were among the top 10 GPAs nationally in their respective sports. And that's it for sports this week. I'm Cameron Giampaolo.
And that's all we have for you on this edition of Dateline SAU. We'll be back next week with the latest news and sports from St. Ambrose University.
Remember to check out the SAUtv Facebook and Instagram pages for our newscasts, late-breaking news, and more. You can also find news stories and videos on The Hive at SAUthebuzz.com.
As the NFL season gets underway, we thought we'd see which teams are the most popular on the SAU campus.
Dateline SAU's Carolyn Graham asked students to tell us their favorite professional football team. We leave you with their responses, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks for watching.
My favorite football team is the Cardinals, and that's because my favorite players on the Cardinals, DeAndre Hopkins.
My favorite team is the Bears.
And why is that?
Mainly, I just grew up in Illinois, so it was really easy to look up to Chicago. Then when we got Khalil Mack and now we got Justin Fields, it's an exciting time to be a Chicago fan.
Honestly, I love the Chicago Bears. Even though they are the lovable losers of the Midland, they put on a show, and when you get the rivalry between the Bears and the Packers, it's a game to watch.
People probably call me a bandwagon. It would be the Bucks. Only why is that because Tom Brady came to a franchise that was big in the NFL, and then took his franchise awareness of how he can bring a franchise and make more money, and went to a lower franchise and kind of made them into a big all-star team, pretty good team. So
the Green Bay Packers.
And why?
Because I'm all about Wisconsin, everything cheese related.